Look at that dark corner of your garden. You know the one. Under that big old tree, or along that fence that never seems to get any light. Maybe you've looked at it for years and thought, nothing's ever going to grow there. I'm just going to leave it. Well, I want to stop you right there. Because what I'm about to share with you today completely changed the way I think about shade. And honestly, it might just change the way you garden forever. Because those dark, forgotten corners? They are not a problem. They are an opportunity. And most gardeners, even experienced ones, are completely missing it. In this video, I'm going to show you 9 beautiful perennials that don't just tolerate deep shade, they actually thrive in it. These are plants that come back year after year, need very little attention, and will completely transform those areas of your garden where nothing else seems to want to grow. By the end of this video, you're going to look at deep shade differently. Instead of seeing a problem, you're going to see a blank canvas, full of potential. And the best part? These plants are low maintenance, beginner-friendly, and absolutely stunning. So if you've been writing off part of your garden as a lost cause, stick around. Because this video is going to change that. Here at Stress-Free Garden Living, we hear from so many gardeners who feel frustrated by the shady spots in their garden. They've tried planting things there before, watched them struggle, and eventually gave up. Maybe that sounds familiar. The truth is, most gardening advice out there is written for sunny borders. The books, the YouTube videos, the gardening shows, they are full of tips for plants that love full sun. Shade gets an afterthought at best. But our whole philosophy here is simple, smart, effortless gardening that actually works for real people. And that means finding the right plant for every corner of your garden, including the dark ones. So let's get into it. Before we dive into the plants, I want to mention something I'll share with you a little later in this video. There's a simple layering trick, nothing complicated, I promise, that takes these 9 plants and turns them into something that looks like a professionally designed garden. Most people skip this step, and it's the difference between a shady corner that looks lush and intentional, and one that just looks random. I'll show you exactly how to do that before we finish. So make sure you stay with me all the way through. First, what exactly is deep shade? Before we get to the plants, let's quickly clear something up. Deep shade means an area that gets fewer than 2 hours of direct sunlight per day. We're not talking about dappled shade under a light canopy. We mean those spots that are genuinely dark for most of the day, under dense trees, along north-facing walls, or in tight spaces between buildings. That's important because some plants that are labeled shade-tolerant actually need more light than that to do well. The 9 plants I'm sharing today are the real deal. They are built for the dark. Forget what you think a shady plant looks like. Astilbe is nothing like you'd expect. Astilbe produces tall feathery plumes in shades of pink, red, white, and lilac that rise above its lush, fern-like foliage. In a deep shade garden, it's the plant that makes people stop and say, "Wait, that grows in the shade?" Here's why it works so well. Astilbe actually dislikes harsh afternoon sun. Deep shade keeps its roots cool and moist, which is exactly what this plant wants. It's not tolerating the shade, it's thriving because of it. Plant it in rich, moisture-retentive soil with plenty of organic matter, and it will reward you with those spectacular plumes every single summer, year after year. Memo action step: plant Astilbe in groups of 3 or 5 for maximum visual impact. If there is one plant that was born for deep shade, it is the Hosta. And yet, so many gardeners underestimate it, they think of it as a bit plain. But the right variety of Hosta is anything but plain. Hostas come in an almost unbelievable range of sizes and colors, from tiny 6-inch varieties to giant plants with leaves the size of dinner plates. You can get them in deep blue-green, bright lime yellow, and stunning variegated patterns with creamy white edges. Hostas thrive in deep shade because their large leaves are designed to gather every bit of available light. They are efficient, tough, and almost impossible to kill. They go dormant in winter and come back stronger every spring. Plant them in well-drained but moisture-retentive soil. Give them a thick layer of mulch, and they'll pretty much look after themselves. Memo action step: mix different Hosta sizes and colors for a tapestry effect under trees. We're just getting started, and already you can see how different these plants are from anything you'd expect to find in the shade. We still have 7 more to go, and some of the most beautiful ones are coming up. Plus, don't forget that layering tip I mentioned. That's coming up before the end. Here's a plant with a reputation. Lily of the Valley is one of those classics that gardeners love for a reason, those tiny, perfectly formed white bell-shaped flowers with a scent that is genuinely one of the most beautiful in the entire plant kingdom. It spreads gently to form a low ground cover, which makes it brilliant for filling in those awkward gaps under trees where nothing else wants to grow. It handles dry shade better than almost any other plant on this list, making it especially useful under dense tree canopies where the soil can get quite dry. One thing to know, once it's established, it spreads. That can be a wonderful thing in a large dark corner. Just give it some space and let it do its thing. Memo action step: use Lily of the Valley as a living carpet under deciduous trees. It blooms in spring before the tree canopy fills in. This one is genuinely magical. Hellebores, also known as Lenten roses, flower in late winter and early spring, at a time when almost nothing else in your garden is doing anything at all. Imagine nodding, rose-like flowers in deep purple, pale pink, creamy white, and even near black, blooming in February and March when the rest of your garden is fast asleep. Hellebores love the deep shade under deciduous trees. They are evergreen, so they provide year-round structure. They are also remarkably tough once established, drought-tolerant, slug-resistant, and virtually pest-free. Plant them in well-drained soil enriched with compost. They take a year or 2 to really settle in, but once they do, they'll be in your garden for decades. Memo action step: plant hellebores where you'll see them from a window. Their winter flowers are a real mood lifter. Now, here is the mistake I see gardeners make all the time when tackling a deep shade bed. They improve the soil beautifully, plant everything correctly, and then do nothing about root competition. If you're planting under a large tree, those tree roots are hungry. They will steal water and nutrients from your new plants before they even get a chance to establish. The fix is simple. Before you plant, dig in a generous amount of well-rotted compost or leaf mold, at least a couple of inches. Then mulch thickly on top, at least 2 to 3 inches, keeping it away from plant stems. This feeds your plants, suppresses weeds, and keeps moisture in the soil where your perennials can actually reach it. Do this every autumn and you'll see the difference. The name alone tells you something special is coming. Bleeding Heart, or Dicentra, produces the most exquisite arching stems strung with heart-shaped flowers in pink, red, or white. It's one of those plants that stops people in their tracks. It's perfect for deep shade because it naturally grows on the forest floor in the wild, where dappled light is all it ever gets. In your garden, it will do beautifully under trees or in those north-facing borders that seem impossible to fill. One thing to be aware of: many varieties die back in summer, going fully dormant. That's completely normal and actually makes it a great companion plant. You simply plant something else nearby to fill the gap when it disappears. Memo action step: pair Bleeding Heart with hostas. The hostas expand just as the Bleeding Heart starts to fade. If you've never grown Japanese forest grass, Hakonecloa macra, you are in for a treat. This is an ornamental grass that is happy in shade, which immediately makes it unusual. Most grasses want full sun. This one doesn't. It forms graceful, cascading mounds of golden green foliage that glow even in low light. In a dark corner, it acts like a beam of sunshine. It literally brightens the space without needing any direct light to do it. It's slow-growing but long-lived. Plant it in moist, humus-rich soil, water it well in its first season, and then largely leave it alone. It's particularly stunning cascading over the edge of a shaded raised bed or spilling out from under a tree. Memo action step: plant it where it can spill forward. The cascading habit is its best feature. Foxgloves are a classic cottage garden plant, but here's what most people don't realize. They actually prefer part to full shade. In full sun, they can struggle in a hot summer. In deep shade, they stand tall and produce those magnificent spires of tubular flowers in purple, pink, white, and cream. They are technically biennial, meaning they grow leaves in their first year and flower in their second. But they self-seed so reliably that once you plant them, you'll have them coming up year after year as if they were true perennials. They are tall, some varieties reach 5 or 6 feet, which makes them brilliant for adding vertical height to a shaded border. Plant them towards the back and let them tower beautifully above everything else. Memo action step: let foxgloves self-seed freely, you'll always have new plants without lifting a finger. Wild ginger is one of gardening's best-kept secrets for deep shade. It's a low-growing ground cover with large, heart-shaped, glossy leaves that form a dense, weed-suppressing carpet. It's incredibly tough, handles dry shade well, and spreads steadily to fill a space over time. It won't win any prizes for flashy flowers, those are small, hidden beneath the leaves, but its contribution to a shade garden is all about texture and structure. It's the plant that ties everything else together. Think of it as the green carpet that makes all the other plants look better. Plant it in well-drained soil with organic matter. Once established, it needs almost nothing from you. Memo action step: use wild ginger to fill in gaps between larger plants and suppress weeds naturally. Last but absolutely not least, lungwort. And yes, the name is a bit unfortunate, but don't let that put you off. This plant is a genuine workhorse for deep shade. Lungwort flowers very early in the season, late winter into spring, producing clusters of blue, pink, and purple flowers that pollinators love. But what really makes it special are the leaves. Many varieties have silver-spotted or silvery white foliage that catches even the faintest glimmer of light, making them look almost luminous in a dark border. They are low-growing, spreading slowly to form attractive clumps, and once established they are remarkably drought-tolerant. They also keep their foliage right through winter, giving you year-round ground-level interest. Memo action step: plant lungwort at the front of a shaded border where its silvery leaves can be seen and appreciated up close. Alright, this is the tip I promised you at the start. And this is what separates a shady corner that looks thoughtfully designed from one that just looks like a random collection of plants. It's called layering. And the principle is beautifully simple. You think of your shade garden in 3 layers, tall, medium, and low. At the back, or under the tree, you put your tallest plants. Foxgloves for vertical drama. Astilbe for feathery plumes. These create structure and height. In the middle, you use your mid-height plants. Hostas, hellebores, bleeding heart. These are your workhorses, substantial foliage and beautiful flowers at eye level. At the front, you use your ground huggers. Lungwort, wild ginger, lily of the valley. These spill forward softly, hide the soil, and suppress weeds. And then, the final touch, you add Japanese forest grass at the edges to cascade gently and catch any available light. It acts like a natural border. When you plant this way, you create a complete, layered planting that looks intentional and full from every angle. Your shady corner stops looking like a problem and starts looking like the best part of your garden. People will ask you how you did it. And you can tell them it was surprisingly simple. So let's take a moment to think about what we've just covered. Deep shade is not a gardening problem. It's actually an opportunity that most gardeners have been walking past for years. With the right 9 perennials, Astilbe, hostas, lily of the valley, hellebores, bleeding heart, Japanese forest grass, foxglove, wild ginger, and lungwort, you can completely transform even the darkest corner of your garden into something that looks genuinely beautiful. Prepare your soil well with organic matter. Mulch generously. Manage root competition. Water carefully in the first season. And use that simple layering approach to create something that looks designed and intentional. That's all it takes. No complicated techniques. No expensive equipment. Just the right plants in the right place, which is really what stress-free gardening is all about. The best part? These plants are perennials. You plant them once, and they come back, stronger and more beautiful, every single year. That is the definition of effortless gardening. Now, before you go, I would love to know, which of these 9 plants are you most excited to try in your garden? Is it the early flowering magic of hellebores? The cascading glow of Japanese forest grass? Or perhaps the classic elegance of hostas? Drop your answer in the comments below. I genuinely read every single one, and I'd love to hear from you. And if you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help more gardeners find this channel, and that means we can keep making content just like this. If you're not already subscribed to Stress-Free Garden Living, now is a great time. We publish new videos every week on smart, simple gardening that gives you more results with less effort. Whether you're a complete beginner or you've been gardening for years, there's always something here for you. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Because coming up next, we have more ideas for low-maintenance planting that will make your garden easier and more beautiful than you ever thought possible. Thank you so much for watching. Happy gardening, and remember, your perfect garden doesn't have to be stressful. It just has to be smart.